We open on a recap of the last episode where Odious was destroyed. The only thing they could recover was her mallet. Badon is sad, but Tynamon takes this opportunity to declare himself the new sorcerer. Then the two are scared by Galvanax projecting himself on the floor and tells them to present the Rangers the new contestant. Meanwhile, the Rangers, it's Valentine's Day and everyone's pairing off except Brody and Preston because they're too awkward around girls, but they are totally eyeing some girls. Haley tries motivating them and telling them to be themselves. But oh no, at the same moment, the contestant is stealing from kids. The Rangers investigate, and it's revealed that it's Brax, the new contestant, who brags that he's the strongest one they've ever faced. The Rangers introduce themselves, which causes Brax to freak out, but Donna comforts him, as Tynamon explains that he's very sensitive. You should feel shame for yourself. The ninjas try apologizing, but then all the Galaxy Warriors leave. Everyone's confused. But it was all just a distraction so Venema can hit people with her arrows, including the Rangers. There's a little bit of fighting, and everyone except for Preston and Haley get hit by the arrows, and even Venema accidentally hits herself with her arrow. And it turns out they're love arrows, as the other four Rangers start simping for Venema, and having very aggressive fights over who gets to be with Venema. Meanwhile, Venema starts simping for Preston. Tynamon finds this really weird and unfitting for Galaxy Warriors, but Badana likes the romance angle they're going for. So now it's up to Preston and Haley to save the other Rangers from themselves, and eventually Preston says no sympathy for simps. Tynamon uses the mallet, grows Venema Giant, and the Spirit Ninja Megazord can use Preston's magic. And then at the end, Preston finally gets the courage to ask out the girl he likes to the dance, and she accepts. Alright. But Brody's not as lucky, as Coco only agrees to go as friends. Wah, wah. The Rangers are training and feel confident about themselves, especially when they get the alert that Brax is around. So they easily ambush him, shoot him in the butt, and easily capture him. But he starts laughing and says they don't know who he is. He explains that his new longsword was reforged from his old two, shorter swords, and reinforced with ninja steel. And Tynamon cursed one of the two red Ranger Shurikens they have. The Rangers have a moment of shock, realizing that Galvanax has two Ranger Shurikens, as Brax continues saying that his body, for its loyalty to Galvanax, was given the gift of the red Shuriken. As we see Cosmo get hit by the red Shuriken and turn into Brax, as Brax's voice fades into being Cosmo's. Calvin states that explains why he's so weak. But then Brody remembers, wait a minute, his two shorter swords. As Brax says, yes, he has been reborn thanks to Tynamon, as his voice starts fading into that of Ripcon, giving us the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I need to beat you, Rock. I need it more than anything that you can ever imagine. So that's the mentality, the fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin is back and that I must beat The Rock to be the World Wrestling Federation champion once again, and there is no other way.
Ripcon easily breaks himself free and curve stomps the Rangers, even really injuring Haley, causing her to demorph. Brody, mad that Ripcon's back, tries hitting him with a blazing lion strike, but Ripcon just blocks it and tosses it aside. Ripcon states thanks to the red Shuriken within him and his new Ninja Steel sword, he's way stronger than Brody could ever imagine. Brody gets fired up at this, but Preston and Calvin hold him back as Levi sees the situation and teleports everyone back to base. Everyone's upset that Ripcon has returned and they underestimated him, but Master Dan assures them that they should never underestimate their opponents. Always expect they have something up their sleeves. And he's all about fair fighting, but if he starts cheating, I'm not saying anything, but I'm gonna strongly apply something. The next day, Ripcon is terrorizing people for fun again, so Sarah decides to fight him mano a mano, unmorphed. And just as the Rangers formerly underestimated him, Ripcon underestimates Sarah. As when it looks like she's down for the count, and Ripcon's get a win, the Rangers jump him, revealing that the other Rangers were disguised as Basher bots. The ninjas hit him with a lot of cheap shots, like how Ripcon hit them with a lot of cheap shots. Sarah gets the blazing lion morpher. She says it's not really her style, but uses it anyway. Ripcon grows giant, but Badana forces Tynamon to instead summon a bunch of Skulligators, because it's clear Badana kinda has a thing for Ripcon. We open with a new alien coming into the Galaxy Dome and asking questions about a report over stolen items, but suddenly a new ninja teleports in with a smoke bomb. It's Sheriff Jiraiya. And yes, we're still calling him Jiraiya because shut up. The two work for the Space Police, who are different from the SPD. Badana doesn't really have any idea what's going on, as Galvanax comes in and explains the situation, that they need him to stop these thieves that stole his ninja stars. Jiraiya, being a good police officer who is also a ninja, decides to help Galvanax and stop these thieves. His deputy assures Badana that they will bring them to justice. So they decide that Badana will be laying around, acting helpless, and then the ninjas come in and try to fight her, but then Jiraiya hops down and fights them. Eventually it's just Brody, as the other Rangers go help some civilians who are getting harassed by Basherbots. Jiraiya sees the ninjas helping people, and there's a moment where he's like, wait a minute, I thought you were the bad guys, and they're like, well, I thought you were the bad guy. And Jiraiya asks, well, why did you steal the Shurikens? And Brody says that he stole the Shurikens from my father. But then they see on a TV projecting Galaxy Warriors, the show, that the deputy is planting bombs throughout the city to try and get the ninjas. So now it's a mad dash to go get the bombs planted throughout the entire city. During which Jiraiya helps out the ninjas and teaches them some stuff about ninjutsu or something. They eventually catch up with the deputy, and he doesn't care that the ninjas are innocent. They're still thieves in his eyes. He's going to arrest them and Jiraiya, even if they did stop his bomb plot. And then the ninjas fight him. Jiraiya hits him with his finisher, and then gives his sword to Brody, who starts dual wielding and finishes off the contestant. And he grows giant, yada yada. There's a big lesson about obeying the law and keeping police accountable for their actions and up to date about how the law is, and always tell the truth, especially to the police, and cite your sources, something, yeah. And Jiraiya agrees that he's going to help train the ninjas eventually.